Alright, what's going on, guys? This is Sam Kwak and
this is Daniel.
So welcome to the Kwak Brothers podcast, guys. I know, guys, we know video today, no video feed. Part of YouTube because we actually tore down our video studio right now. We're actually in the process of moving. Fun and exciting. So next week's podcast will be at our new location. Be very, very nice. You guys will notice the clear difference of quality in terms of our housing. So you guys will be getting a better visual next week.
Well, if this one gets better ratings, definitely know we're a couple of ugly dudes.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, today we're gonna come back. This is episode 12, and we're gonna be talking about how do we find the deals, right? And I think this is something that I want to stress a little bit, and Daniel will talk about a little bit. But what we noticed, Daniel and I, and why we want to talk about finding deals more so than raising money. I think we kind of covered the raising money part of the last 2 weeks. So we want to talk about how do we find the deals. But I think a lot of you guys are thinking, well, I got to find the money first and then find the deal, which I personally disagree. I think you first need to find the deal, and then the money will come. Now, of course, the money will come if you only know how to put together the deal in a good fashion, right? If you know how to put together the deal, I think the money will show up. So, in many cases, my personal philosophy, Daniel might have a different version of it, but my personal philosophy is that if you can find a hot deal, money will come. And to be honest, and there's nothing as far as statistics or any actual hard data to back this up, but in my observation, there's more money available to be invested, to be deployed, than there are actual deals right now that I would consider to be really, really good. So, in all instances, I think you guys listening in should always look for the deals first, and then try to put the money together. I don't know what, Daniel, did you have a little take on that?
No, I think having the deal is actually a great way to raise money. Oftentimes when you're trying to raise money, everyone's going to be like, well, where's the deal? Being able to find the deal and being able to find the good deal is going to be a good indicator on whether or not you should even raise money. A lot of people are asking like, well, Daniel, how do I raise money? You've raised $6 million in the last 8 months. Well, I'm going to tell you why. It's because, like I said, I know what I'm doing. And if you guys are raising funds, but yet you guys don't have deals, you guys don't have good deals, or you don't know how to look for deals, there's the question of whether or not it's how do you raise money. It's number one, should you be raising money at all?
Right.
Are you even the person that should be having other people's money in your account? I can tell you guys, there's a lot of people out there in the world that I know who should not be putting deals together. Right. They're just not equipped. They don't have the knowledge, or they don't have the intestinal or mental fortitude to be able to be capable of putting together a deal that profits. And I know a lot of horror stories in which investors are not happy with the performance of a particular investor, and don't get me wrong, it's a lot of people. It's 90% of people that I meet that they're an investor and they should not have been raising money in the first place because they really had no business putting together a deal. So today we're going to talk about how to find deals, right? But how to find good deals, because I think I can, Sammy and I can agree with both that if we, were to take a good deal, quote unquote, a good deal by many people's standards out there in terms of what a good deal is, we have a capability of coming out with 400, 500 units every single month, right? If you're talking about going by the standard of the majority in terms of what a good deal is. And you got to understand that right now with the rising GDPs and rising market, it's not very hard to make money in real estate right now. Right? Just like how it was in 04, 05, 06, and 07. A lot of people are making money right now in real estate, as they are with anything else, right? The stock market has been increasing. The Dow has just hit a new all-time high in the history of the United States. You have something like cryptocurrency that's going up every single value. If you look at Bitcoin, the value increases every single minute, right? It's like there's a joke that I saw on Twitter. It says like, a son asking his father for one Bitcoin. It's like, well, one Bitcoin costs $14,000. What are you going to do with $15,000 anyway? Who else needs $16,000? It's astronomical. Every asset class is going up right now. And because of it, people are making money in real estate. And because people are making money in real estate, everyone's feeling like they're the next you know, they feel like they can put any deal together. So
Right.
let's talk about some ideas. Number one, that we can find the deal, and let's also talk about ways that we can make sure that the deal is good.
Yeah, so before we talk about the actual methods, we're going to put them out there. We're going to give you a list, right, an itemized list as far as what we feel like are techniques that work in terms of finding the deal and techniques that just kind of go nowhere. Now, before Daniel and I go and list those off, I want to briefly, real quick, and I will get to the list, I promise. I want to briefly talk about what I like to call the hard and creative matrix, right? This is going to be a little bit difficult for me to explain over to you by just simple delivery of voice, but I'm going to do my best. So imagine a 4-quadrant, right? You know, drop a line up and down and sideways. So imagine 4 different categories, okay? There's the easy, obvious, right, and hard and creative, right? So if you really notice, if you can put this in a picture in your head, there's really 8 types of ways you can actually lead generate in terms of for properties, right? The first, and I think the most obvious way, and like I said, like the word obvious implies, obvious and easy is a lot of where newbies like to hang out. Like a lot of new people who get into real estate investing simply can't think beyond what's easy and obvious. So for example, what's easy and obvious? Well, looking through the MLS is certainly an easy way to do it because you can get online, and it's one of the most obvious ways to do in terms of finding the deal, right? Well, there's also the hard and obvious. Well, what's hard and obvious? I think hard and obvious can be like, you know, bandit signs, you know, putting those signs that says, you know, I buy houses, right? Now, if you are a licensed realtor, in most states, you cannot be doing those signs. You cannot put those signs out there, right? The I buy houses signs. But it's a little harder because now you have to actually get off of your office chair or your seat and actually go to get those signs out there and put those signs out there in the middle of the night, right? Now, the two favorite categories like that I want to, I guess there's really 4. Sorry, guys. The last 2 categories that I want you guys to focus on is the creative and easy and hard and creative, right? So we're going to talk about hard and creative and easy. I think creative and easy is what you can do is, like, for us, if you're looking for multi-family apartment buildings, you can go on Google Maps, right? And turn the satellite image mode on so you can actually see what it looks like from a bird eye view, and just scroll around in your area and start looking for apartment buildings. It's kind of obvious whether the building is an apartment building or not, because you'll see one big giant chunk of block of a property and you see these parking lots around it, right? So that implies that that clearly may be an apartment building, and what you can do is you can actually right click on the Google Maps or that the apartment building area and figure out what the address is, right? Once you have the address, you can now go look up in your local tax assessor's website and figure out who owns it. You can do a direct mail. If you can figure out if it's an LLC, maybe you can find out who the attorney is, right? Now, the last category, and Daniel is going to expand more on this, more so than I probably would. The last category is the hard and creative category, right? Hard and creative category is where you should be targeting as far as finding the deals, because here's why. The hard and creative category, the hard and creative quadrant, no lazy investor is going to hang out there, right? If you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to think, if you're willing to actually use your brain power behind your business, you're going to want to hang out in hard and creative. Figure out new ways to lead generate, and it's a little difficult for the new people to get into, right? So the underlining, theme here, guys, is always try to target the any lead generation method that kind of falls in the line of easy and creative and hard and creative. Because I think hard and obvious and easy and obvious, it's just too many people are lead generating from those from those sources that you're going to be competing and you'll be butting heads.
Right. Like if you look at places like Zillow or Redfin, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure you could find great deals, but chances are if they've already hit the market,
right,
and it's on Zillow or Redfin, chances are a lot of different investors have already gone through.
Yeah, and
right?
so it's
and
easy and obvious.
You're kind of getting the sloppy seconds of your deals, and Not to say that they're bad deals, but if you've already had 5 or 6 real estate investor groups kind of pass on them, that should indicate, something else. And one of my personal favorite ways to be able to acquire leads is looking through eviction processes, like so eviction courts.
See, that's hard and creative.
Right, that's hard and creative. So you're looking at eviction courts. So you're looking at owners who have issues with their buildings, right? So you might find them to be a bit more motivated sellers. Matter of fact, that's how I got the 8 unit. My partner and I, he was a property manager. He got the call from a guy who owned the 8 unit, and he had court with 3 squat, like all this crazy stuff going on. And I'm sure you guys have heard the story before behind this building, but it's at the end of the day that was that was a hard and creative type of method, but it was probably one of the best deals that I ever put together. Right, we got 100% financing on it, and oftentimes with those unique situations, that's exactly what you're gonna get, right? Especially with those hard and creative, right? You're solving people's problems, meeting their needs and whatnot. So I know eviction court process is another one. I remember I started out actually my real estate investing career driving for dollars. Right. So if you guys don't know what that means, is I used to for the first year and a half or so, I would drive around look for rent signs on apartment complexes, and I would call them. Instead of asking for available slots, I would ask them if they had any interest in selling, because I found that most people would rent because they couldn't sell. Right,
and I think calling for the for rent sign, I think fits in the easy and creative side, because a lot of people they don't really put those two things together. A for rent sign, it can turn into a sale opportunity. Now, what's obvious and easy would be going around driving, or actually what would be obvious and hard is driving around and calling the signs of a realtor saying, for sale by agent, right? I think even for sale by owner is easy and obvious, because anybody can just go online and just look up if it's for sale by owner. So guys, I want you guys to go out there and look for hard and creative ways and methods that you feel like it's kind of special to you, that you kind of invented it, right? I'm sure you have some strengths and available resources that even myself and Daniel might not even have to go look for these properties, right? So hard and like Daniel said, I think Daniel did a really good job bringing that up, is the eviction court process. If you can figure out who's having the evictions in your area, right, the landlords, and approaching the landlords to see if they might be interested in selling it as is, meaning the eviction process still going on, I think you guys will have a better shot, because a lot of these landlords may be just tired of going through these eviction courts and processes that they don't even want to deal with, right? So we just gave you guys a gold nugget there, right? Eviction courts. And a lot of times, if you live in a county where you guys have a pretty good, robust court system, you guys should be able to do what's called FOIA, right? Freedom of Information Act. That's Freedom of Information Act, FOIA. You can actually do a Freedom of Information Act, and your local county clerk or the sheriff's office will actually give you a list of all the cases that are pending with an eviction, right? In the last 6 months or last 3 months, whatever, however fast your county does evictions. I would look at the last 30 days of who filed for eviction, right? Forcible detainee is the actual legal term for it, and figure out which landlords/attorneys you want to contact, and perhaps reach out to them and ask them if they're interested in selling, right? So Daniel, did you have any other thoughts as far as finding deals?
No, you have a lot of resources. Obviously, we have a team of bird dogs that always look for properties for us. We have a certain software, and obviously that's one of the things that Sammy likes to do in terms of the real estate aspect of it. But no, I don't have many thoughts at all in just terms of it depends on the way you find properties also dictates the way you put your deals together. But that's probably a topic for another night. With that too. So that's a topic for another night, and that's kind of what I could speak a lot to about, just being the one to kind of put all the deals together and whatnot. But it's significantly everything is situational. There's no cookie cutter way to do every single deal, unfortunately. But you always have to, like I said, you always have to keep in mind, how are you finding your deals, because that may lead to some problems or some benefits in terms of how you're putting your deal together.
Now, I do have to say that when you play in the creative and hard side, even if you find a deal, more will be demanded out of you as far as knowledge and how to put the deal together, right? Chances are, if it's like a crazy, creative, and hard deal, you're going to be tested to your limits as far as what you know about real estate investing. Like, for example, Daniel mentioned it, the 8-unit deal, right? If we didn't know how to put together an owner financing deal, then we probably have not gotten that deal.
It wasn't knowing how to put an owner financing deal together. More so as it was understanding your set of circumstances, along with pairing that with your set of strategies that you know. So it's a lot of it was direct correlation, like how to, out of all the strategies that what fits the best with the situation. Because a lot of people, they always try and go for the owner financing. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of owner financing, but I think the real estate investors who only focus on owner financing are, just to kind of say it bluntly, they're amateurs.
Right.
They're honestly amateurs, because there are deals where I've done where owner financing was not the best option. Right, like it all depends on your situation, and if anytime somebody asks me a real estate question, they look, it seems like they look for, a quick direct answer. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, the correct answer on 95% of things in real estate is it depends.
Right.
It really does depend, and I find that if I give one answer, they think that's the same exact answer for every type of deal, and the worst. And there are real estate investors out there who have sets of knowledge and whatnot, but honestly, the best real estate investors that I know, their answer is it depends 95% of the time.
Right.
And it's because it's so true. It really does depend 95% of the time on so many different circumstances. That it's so key that you have to be educated if you want to become a great real estate investor. And if you want to be in my opinion, a good real estate investor is the one that doesn't lose money. Great real estate investor is the one that can find the best strategy with the best skills, create the best situation with your given circumstances in real estate, and understanding how to read the market and adjust accordingly. So it really does depend on every single deal. My thing is just get educated, and you'll also find that when it comes to finding deals, the more educated you are, the more deals available. Are to you, right? Like right now, a lot of real estate investors, they only know one thing, and that's what they look for, right? And if somebody were to come to me with a 4-unit deal and then it loses money, $500 every single month, most people would say, I don't want that deal. Right, I can tell you 2 or 3 people right now who would love to have that deal, right? And like I said, it just depends on what makes a good deal, what makes a bad deal for that particular person. So the more you know, the more opens up to you, because you have that knowledge and you know what to do with it.
Yeah, right? I agree. Right. So guys, the key theme here is get educated, right? Learn as much as possible, even if you have to exchange monetary resource to obtain knowledge. Right? Knowledge is the number one asset you want to invest in before investing into any real estate deals, right? You have to invest in the best real estate deal you can possibly do, which is between your 2 years, right? As the saying goes. So guys, I implore you, all of you listening to this, further develop your education, right? Your knowledge, your understanding, right? There's a guy that I know, literally, he spent $1 million in his real estate education. He bought courses, he went 10 seminars, he read all the books possible, as much as he can find. And today he's one of the top 10, short sale guy in the country, right? So you want to invest, if you even have to invest $1 million, like the friend that I know, the person that I know, right? If it takes you to the top, why not, right? And this guy's probably making 100 times more than what he invested. So if you're afraid of making that decision to spend extra money on knowledge and education, you have no place in real estate investing.
It's basic business, right? It's basic business. There's an opportunity cost to everything, right? In order to go to the next dimension, you have to spend money, you have to spend time, you have to put in effort. And you have to put in sweat equity to get into that next dimension. So we're gonna go ahead and close this out, guys. But as we are closing this out, I really want you guys to keep that in mind. There's an opportunity cost, right? There's a cost benefit to every single thing going to that next dimension. Whether it's time, money, knowledge, resources, everything, right? It has to go up there, right? And I'm very impressed with myself because I just burped as I was saying that. This whole life thing, I'm figuring it out. So, all right, guys. Me and Sammy will see you guys next Tuesday with a new topic.
We're gonna have the video feedback on.
We will have the video feedback on, and in the meantime, comment down below what you guys want us to talk about, right? I mean, we this podcast, you know, we want to give you guys 100% of the value that you guys are interested in. So we can't do that unless we get some feedback.
All right.
So,
All right, guys. Appreciate it. Love you all. I'll see you guys next week.
see you guys.
Yep.